And welcome back to the Michael Cohen Show on our continued journey to 500,000 subscribers. Look, yesterday, phenomenal day, hundreds of thousands of views, thanks to you. So let's do it again. Hit subscribe, watch, comment, keep the comments coming, and share with your friends and your family, because the craziness, it's not stopping, not for a second. So look, as senators continue to vote on amendments to Trump's big, beautiful bill, the MAGA goons, well, they're on full display. Head of it, Stephen Miller was on Fox News talking about how people are spreading lies about the bill. I could say the same thing to him, because yesterday, Caroline Leavitt, you know, our famous press secretary, Caroline, she claimed that Medicaid, get a load of this, Medicaid will be safer with the bill. Unfortunately, we all know that to be untrue. Play the clip.
I am sick and tired of the lies about this bill that have been perpetrated by opportunists who are trying to make a name for themselves. This is the most conservative bill in my lifetime.
Yeah, I mean, people like Elon Musk, people like, you know, Tom Tillis, and I mean, how many more? Every economist basically turning around saying you're adding $5 trillion. Anywhere between 3.5 to 5 trillion to our debt? Really? So I can't say for sure, but it seems as if those Stevens comments were sparked by Elon's rant on X that I showed you in my previous video earlier today. Now this morning, Scott Bessent, he also shows up on Fox, and he's asked about Elon's comments. Listen to what he has to say. Play the clip.
Elon Musk says this. It's obvious with this insane spending bill, increases the debt ceiling by $5 trillion. We live in a one-party country, the Porky Pig Party. Time for a new political party that actually cares about the people. And he's probably going to start one if this passes. What's your reaction? You guys famously tangled in the White House.
I admire Elon's leadership on rockets. I will take care of the finances.
So do you feel as though he says the $5 trillion adding to the deficit? You don't agree?
I don't agree at all. Let me tell you why. Because this bill will set off growth like we've never seen before. The CBO projections only project 1.8% per year growth.
Yeah, again, you know, you could throw out all the numbers that you want, but every economist that's out there, not some, not most, every economist out there is saying the exact opposite of you, Scott. Meanwhile, Bessent, he's just lying to the American people, which of course is ironic based on the first clip of Stephen Miller. Now, yesterday, Senator Rand Paul, he broke down the meaning behind the bill raising the debt ceiling. It was interesting. Play the clip.
Which brings us back to maybe we have to judge the effects of the big, not so beautiful bill by looking at what happens to the debt next year. Supporters of the bill admit it adds $270 billion to the debt next year. That's the only thing we know for certain. We don't know what happens in year 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, but we know next year this bill will grow the deficit by $270 billion. In addition, the bill increases the debt ceiling by $5 trillion. What does that mean? That is an admission that they know they aren't controlling the deficit. They know that the ensuing years will add trillions more. So we're adding $2 trillion this year, but they're anticipating, the authors of the bill anticipating adding more than $2 trillion next year. That doesn't sound at all conservative to me, and that's why I'm a no.
Well, it doesn't sound conservative to me either. Now, Mo Brooks, the former GOP representative from Alabama, he went on CNN where he was asked why he thinks GOP senators are scared to speak up. Play the clip.
Well, why is it that people are so reluctant to speak up? Why are your fellow Republicans or members of Congress refusing to do so?
Well, we've got a couple like Thomas Massey out of Kentucky, Warren Davidson out of Ohio, who put America first. And I'm proud as can be of those two members in Congress. You've got Rand Paul also in Kentucky, and now Tom Tillis in North Carolina. They're doing what their conscience tells them to do. And that's what we need. People who will work through the issues and decide what is in the best long-term future of their country and vote that way. We don't need an extraneous factor coming in, and that's the kind of intimidation that the 800-pound gorilla in Washington, D.C., that's Donald Trump, that's the kind of impact he has in Republican primaries. We don't need him interceding and forcing people or coercing people into voting poorly for America when we need people to stand tall and vote right for America.
But can Donald Trump really force them to do anything? I mean, do we just turn around and give them the pass and blame it all on Trump? How about the fact that you stand up, you do what Tillis is doing, you do what Bacon is doing, you do what Rand Paul is doing, and you turn around and you say, no, this isn't accurate, this isn't true. And Trump is angry because there's not a single Democrat that's buying into it. Well, the question really should be, why is anybody buying into it? But meanwhile, Brooks also points out the numerous campaign promises that Trump has broken. Play that clip.
Welcome back. Listen, you heard Senator Tillis call this bill a betrayal. In your opinion, is Trump backtracking on his vow, frankly, not to make cuts to Medicaid?
Well, Donald Trump has put himself in a very difficult position because he's made a lot of campaign promises that inherently conflict with each other. By way of example, if you go back to 2015 and 2016, he was not only going to eliminate the deficit within his 4 years, but within 8 years, he was going to pay off all of our debt. And did he do any of that? No, he raised our debt by about $7 trillion, which was a record for a 4-year period of time by any president in the history of the United States, albeit in fairness to Donald Trump. Joe Biden broke that record and did even worse in his 4 years. So here we are again, what used to be a $15 to $20 trillion debt burden on Americans is now $36 trillion. And to put that into perspective, that's $2 trillion a year deficits that we're looking at indefinitely into the future. In addition to that, the debt service cost, that's interest on the debt, not including the principal you have to pay back, is about $1 trillion a year. That's roughly 20% of every dollar forcefully taken from taxpayers is now used to pay past largesse, past borrowings, and is not doing anything productive for national defense, for Medicaid, for Medicare, or Social Security today.
The way you lay it out.
The way he lays it out is genius and factually accurate. Meanwhile, Governor Andy Beshear of Kentucky, he explained how devastating that this bill is going to be to rural America. Play that clip.
Well, first, you are entirely right that this would be absolutely devastating to Kentucky, but it's going to be devastating to all of rural America. You mentioned that it is basically going to fire, because that's what Donald Trump and everybody who votes for this is doing. They are firing healthcare workers across the country, 20,000 in my state. 200,000 people in Kentucky and millions more aren't going to be able to get the treatments they need. They might not survive. And those 35 rural hospitals that are at risk of closing, Jen, each and every one of them is the second largest employer in the community that they're in. So just imagine you're a small business in that community and the second largest employer goes under. All the jobs evaporate. What happens? Your entire community's economy takes a major hit, and all of a sudden you as a small business may be laying some people off as well. But then take the families and how they're going to be impacted. Whether you're on Medicaid or on private insurance, if your rural hospital closes, you got to drive a couple hours just to see the doctor you used to see in your own community. If your parents get kicked off of their coverage.
Yeah, I mean, it's devastating. Meanwhile, talk about devastating. Attorney General Pam Bondi, she went on Fox News with Sean Hannity, and she was speaking about how she is now going to go after governors. Play that clip.
And as I mentioned before, we also sued last week Governor Walz in Minnesota for tuition for illegal aliens. You can't do that. Once again, these governors, these states are prioritizing illegal aliens over our students. They're treating our students like second-class citizens, and the Trump administration is not going to put up with it. It ends, and it ends now.
Oh, wow. Meanwhile, as I spoke about in a video yesterday, there's a new app that shows where ICE officers are popping up in your area. Hannity asked if the app is an obstruction of justice, something that I brought up earlier. So I don't know, maybe my old friend Sean, maybe he's watching this. Play the clip.
If you have or put out an application or a warning system that ICE agents are in the area, are you guilty of obstruction? Are you guilty of aiding and abetting in that case? And by the way, if you're a sanctuary state, does that status aid and abet just the very status of it?
Yeah, and that's what he's doing. And people obviously are ICE agents, all of our federal agents who are working hand in hand on these task forces, our federal agents from the Justice Department could be injured. He's giving a message to criminals where our federal officers are, and he cannot do that. And we are looking at it. We are looking at him, and he better watch out, because that's not a protected speech. That is threatening the lives of our law enforcement officers throughout this country. And shame on CNN. I just saw that for the first time when you showed it, that they're promoting that app. That's shame on them for doing that. That could hurt our law enforcement officers who are out there protecting them, protecting all of us every single day.
Okay, so let me just break this down for a second. Words like could, should, might, that doesn't make fact. All right, that makes a hype. That makes a possibility. And you can't sue somebody off of a possibility that something can happen. Meanwhile, Border Tom Homan, he was on Fox as well, talking about the app. Play the clip.
I know it's just simply disgusting, and any network that covers that is disgusting as well. So I'm hoping DOJ steps in there and see if they cross that line of impeding federal law enforcement officers. Look, Lawrence, you and I talk about this. Assault against ICE is up over 500%. Now you got an app that's going to tell where ICE operations are going to be. It's only a matter of time before ICE agents are ambushed by some nut, like what happened in LA, throwing a Molotov cocktail, throwing bricks at these officers. This is just disgusting at every level. So I hope DOJ dives in this deeply.
Yeah. Finally, I want to circle back to Besant, where he spoke about the deals that he's securing for Trump before the 90-day deadline is up. Play the clip.
Up this deal. What does the American side say?
American side says the same thing, that we are very close with India. And Brian, I will tell you that the career staffers on these deals are saying that they can't believe what we're getting. People who have been at Treasury, at Commerce, at USTR for 20 years are saying that these are deals like they've never seen before.
Okay. Once again, just not true. Scary. 90 days, 90 deals. Look, let me be very clear. That 90 days, 90 deals, never going to happen. And also, on top of the big, beautiful bill, everybody's talking about now how they needed to be on Trump's desk before the 4th of July for him to sign. That's probably not going to happen either. All right. And on top of that, with the, 3, 4, 5,000 undocumented migrants being deported every single day, that too is not going to happen. But here's the problem. Doesn't mean that Trump doesn't get a win, because he ultimately will get it to that number. He ultimately will resolve issues with many of these trading partners, and he ultimately will end up accomplishing much of what he's trying to do right now, despite the fact, even like with the big, beautiful bill, that it's not big, it's not beautiful, and it's a bill, but it's horrible. All right, he'll probably do it, and he'll declare it as a win. These timelines, they're just meant to distract. Let's not let that happen. Let's hold everybody accountable. And as always, thanks for listening.
Hey, everyone. First of all, thanks for watching. We're going to be posting daily episodes with reactions and talking about politics. We'll be talking about everything, in fact. So please like and subscribe. Join us on this journey.